Discover the miraculous last words of God to Lucifer, a divine revelation before his fall. In the 3rd year of Jehoiakim, the word of the Lord came to his faithful servants in the celestial realms, where the very throne room of heaven shimmered with light beyond comprehension. From his majestic throne, Yahweh observed the divine assembly of angels, resplendent beings crafted in glorious wonder, a symphony of praises echoing through the crystalline halls of eternity. Among them stood Lucifer, the bearer of light, adorned in unparalleled beauty and wisdom. Ezekiel 28:12-15 ESV. He, the exalted seraph, radiated glory and honor, gathering the celestial host in songs of adoration to the Almighty. Yet as God beheld his creation, a shadow began to loom within Lucifer's heart, for pride took root amidst the brilliance. "Lucifer, you were created to reflect my glory," came the voice of Yahweh, reverberating through the heavens like thunder, awakening echoes of reverence among the myriad of angels. "Yet you must take heed to your heart, for pride goes before a fall." In that instant, the weight of divine warning pressed upon Lucifer, stirring a tempest within him. Conflicted, he absorbed God's words with an urgency that surged like a tide. In the silence that followed, desire flared as he whispered to himself, "I will ascend to the heavens. I will set my throne above God's throne." Isaiah 14:12-15 ESV. The lure of hidden ambition beckoned, promising a brilliance that rivaled the Creator's own. Unbeknownst to the other angels, whose adoration of him remained unwavering, a venomous ambition began to breed discord in the heart of this revered leader. As God continued to unfold the beauty of his creation plan, revealing the exalted role of man made in his image, Genesis 1:26-27 ESV, Lucifer's heart darkened. Each revelation intensified his internal conflict. Why should these mere mortals share in divine fellowship? They are but dust, lacking the radiance of the celestial. Flames of resentment ignited within him, and the throne of his heart shifted, vying for supremacy. The air crackled with tension, anticipation palpable among the hosts of heaven. God's gaze bore down on Lucifer, an invitation to humility wrapped in divine patience. Will you choose submission, humility, and everlasting glory, or rebellion and the depths of despair? The divine question crossed worlds, echoing through Lucifer's shattered aspirations, yet pride was a poison now coursing through his veins. Before Lucifer could fully comprehend the gravity of his choice, darkness overshadowed the brilliance of his former glory. Unyieldingly, he aspired to the heights, ready to initiate a rebellion that would echo through eternity. A hush enveloped the celestial space, the other angels encumbered by clouds of uncertainty. As he prepared himself to cast aside the glory of heaven, the weight of the choice hung before him like a chasm that promised ruin.
Little did he know, this decision would ignite a battle that would reverberate through time and space, forever altering the course of creation. Before we continue with this incredible biblical account, I want to make sure you don't miss any of these powerful scripture stories. Click the bell icon and select all notifications. These biblical narratives have transformed countless lives throughout history. If God's word through this story is blessing you, please like and share with someone who needs to hear about God's faithfulness today. Tell me in the comments which biblical story has most impacted your faith journey. I'm always amazed how God's word speaks to hearts across generations.
Now, let's continue with what the Lord did next. As the decision to rebel loomed like darkened clouds overflowing with tension, the Eternal One cast his sorrowful gaze upon his creation. What would this insurrection mean for a world yet unformed? As the echoes of Lucifer's choice began to weave through the cosmos, the divine plan remained shrouded in mystery, ready to unfold with divine resolution in the shadows of impending chaos, sparking anticipation for the next chapter yet to be revealed. In the depths of heaven, silence prevailed, an unnatural stillness that gripped the celestial assembly as they awaited Lucifer's response. The seraphim and cherubim stood resolute, their glimmering countenances reflecting their Creator's lament. This was a moment heavy with the weight of eternity. For while Lucifer's heart wrestled with pride, a divine plan simmered, poised to confront the gathering storm. Will you choose the path of light or plunge into darkness? Yahweh's voice resonated, carrying a sorrow mingled with hope. But Lucifer's heart, now a fortress fortified against humility, swelled with ambition. The echoes of his rebellious thoughts reverberated in the heavenly expanse. I shall be like the Most High. His resolve crystallized, fueling a rebellion that would set in motion a cosmic battle with implications far beyond the realm of the angels. As the diabolical whisper of rebellion grew louder, a tempest brewed in the heavens. The light of dawn began to dim, casting a pall over the alabaster streets of gold. The hosts of angels began to murmur among themselves, bewildered by the choices of their esteemed leader. What has befallen him? They pondered, glancing sidelong at one another, their hearts torn between loyalty and the burgeoning dread of discord. In that moment God declared, "Know this, I have created the treasures of heaven to be shared amongst all my creatures. Yet within the heart of Lucifer lies a deception." The words pierced through the tension like a sword, reverberating across the expanse. The heart of man and angel alike can be swayed, but my purpose shall stand. As Lucifer clung to his treacherous ambitions, he gathered a group of like-minded angels, those whose hearts echoed his treasonous sentiments. They convened beneath the sacred trees of life, where once unity thrived, now treachery plotted. "We will rise," Lucifer proclaimed, his voice alight with fervor. "We shall ascend and overthrow the throne of Yahweh, claim dominion over the realms, and form a new order." Word of this rebellion swiftly swept through the kingdom. The loyal angels, those who remained steadfast in their devotion, were called to take a stand. "We cannot allow this darkness to extinguish the light," cried Michael, the archangel, his voice a clarion call of resolve. "For we are warriors of his light, and we must defend the sanctity of heaven." The heavens swelled with the anticipation of warfare, the very foundations trembling under the weight of loyalty and betrayal. In the galactic shadows, spirit-filled beings coiled, ready to fulfill their function in the unfolding drama of salvation, even as the angels prepared for conflict. The rift between rebellion and loyalty widened, the vision of a fractured heavens drawing nearer. As God observed, his heart ached with unfathomable love for his creation. He declared, "I will send forth my warriors, and they shall stand against the forces of pride. Through their battle I shall reveal my sovereignty." But amid the brewing storm, a deeper mystery lingered, for Yahweh foresaw the salvation woven into the fabric of rebellion. The impending conflict would set the stage for an even greater divine intervention, penned in the annals of eternity. For through this clash, humanity would someday emerge, created in a new covenant of grace, a testament to God's unquenchable love for His children. As the forces began to align, the divine question whispered through time and space, "What redemption shall unfold from this calamity?" The answer remained veiled, the plan of redemption resting in the hands of the Creator, whose wisdom far surpasses all understanding. The heavenly army prepared, a valiant stand poised against rising darkness, eagerly awaiting the moment of confrontation. And thus, with all of heaven holding its breath, the final remnants of the divine warning hung in the air. Will you now witness the birth of a promise through your choice? And so it came to pass that the heavenly throngs stood ready. Tension coursed through the angelic host as the throbbing pulse of rebellion resonated palpably in the celestial halls. The loyal angels, clad in the armor of righteousness, formed ranks, hearts steadfast in their allegiance to the Almighty. Michael raised his sword, resplendent and gleaming, and declared, "On this day we shall stand firm, for the light of our sovereign shall not be overshadowed by darkness." In that pivotal moment, a deep silence fell, a hush as profound as the expanse of eternity itself. All eyes turned toward the throne, where the sovereign presence of Yahweh radiated a wisdom that transcended the tempest brewing.
His gaze pierced the hearts of all present, those allied with the light and those seduced by darkness. The fabric of reality seemed to warp, creating an air thick with expectation. "Lucifer, son of the morning," the Lord called, his voice reverberating through the heavens, each syllable a weighty proclamation that held both warning and mourning. "You were created perfect in beauty, full of wisdom and splendor. Yet your heart has been led astray, seduced by pride. What is it that you seek from the eternal fountain of glory?" Lucifer's heart, now a well of defiance, could not acquiesce to the Lord's sovereign question. "Esteemed one," he answered, his voice laced with brash confidence, "I seek to fulfill my destiny, the limitless potential that has been bestowed upon me. No longer shall I linger in the shadow of your brilliance. I shall forge my own path." The loyal angels trembled at his audacity, their hearts heavy with sorrow, yet resolute in their duty. With tears in their eyes, they grasped the gravity of the hour. Their beloved friend had chosen the path of treason. Among them, swift as a lightning bolt, Michael spoke again, resolutely. "It is not too late. Turn back, dear brother, and acknowledge the truth of your Creator's glory." But the fervor of Lucifer's vision had blinded him, and he declared, "I will make myself like the Most High. I shall ascend above the clouds. I shall be like God." His proclamation fractured the atmosphere, igniting the darkness that awaited in its crescendo. "Lo, you have chosen the path of darkness," God solemnly replied, each word piercing the celestial veil. "Yet I offer you a choice, even in your rebellion. My love does not wane even when hearts stray. Return and find redemption in humility, or prepare for the consequences of your pride." The very angels shuddered at the divine declaration, for they perceived that the moment of choice had arrived not just for Lucifer, but for all of heaven. As the archangels rallied the faithful, the ground beneath quaked, responding to the spiritual battle that intensified. Lucifer, his face embattled with rage and confusion, felt the weight of his decision press against his heart. "I shall not yield. Your kingdom shall not bind me," he spat defiantly, rallying those who had aligned with him.
And so the lines were drawn, a faithful assembly of light against the rising tide of darkness. The clash of wills echoed through the very heavens, a divine drama unfurling with infinite consequence. The angels lifted their voices in worship, a thunderous chorus declaring Yahweh's glory. Holy, holy, holy is the Lord God Almighty. As the celestial assembly prepared for the battle destined to roll through the ages, the heavens trembled with anticipation of what was to come. For God had deemed that even in a fall there would be a lifting, for the promise of redemption lay stitched within his sovereign fabric.
God's presence enveloped them, a divine chiaroscuro overcoming the darkness. I bid you, Lucifer, cease your rebellion. If only you would submit to the truth of who you are, an angel of light. It is the pride within that blinds you from seeing your destiny in my will. The echoes of his plea rang in the lives of all those gathered, tugging at the strings of their hearts. Yet Lucifer's heart remained a stone, unyielding, a fortress built upon the foundations of his self-deception. As the mighty confrontation reached its zenith, God pressed on, revealing through Scripture the divine orchestration woven into the fabric of all creation. For it was foretold, because your heart is lifted up, and you say, I am a God, I will bring you down to the pit of destruction. Ezekiel 28:17. The consequence of your choice rumbles through the epochs to come. And with that, a heavy silence descended, cloaked in the weight of divine prophecy, revealing the irreversible nature of Lucifer's choice. Yet still, the infinite promise of grace lingered, like a flicker of warmth amid the frost of rebellion. And as the final chords of confrontation echoed, a question resonated through the chambers of eternity. What redemption may emerge from the ashes of defiance? And what legacy shall be written in the hearts of those who choose light over darkness? As the tension in the heavenly realms reached its peak, the multitudes of angels stood firm, their wings stretched wide, shimmering in the radiance that surrounded the throne of God. The faithful echoed the divine's call, their voices merging in a symphony of shimmering hope and despair. Lucifer, his visage once radiant with splendor, now wore the weight of darkness like an iron cloak. His eyes, once pools of divine brilliance, flickered with malevolent fire. You speak of hope and grace, yet where is your justice? He spat defiantly, his countenance twisted with rage. What good is love when one is trapped by the chains of servitude? I see no mercy in the shadows of your command. The air crackled with anticipation as the loyal angels looked on, torn by their love for Lucifer and their steadfast devotion to the Almighty. Gabriel, the messenger of God, raised his voice, laden with sorrow. Brother, it is in humility that we find strength, and in surrender that we receive his grace. You were chosen to bear his light across the expanse of creation. Do not cast aside your purpose for fleeting ambition. For a heartbeat, the celestial orbs seemed to pause, watching as the heavens held their breath. The remnant of Lucifer's former glory shimmered faintly in the depths of his conflicted heart. However, driven by bitterness and pride, he responded with a howl that echoed through the vastness. I will forge my own path. I need not the light to define my existence. In the depths of heaven's vault, a profound stillness followed his words, each soul reverberating with the weight of his decision.
God, whose heart brimmed with both justice and love, leaned forward, his voice powerful yet soothing, resonating like the waves of an eternal ocean. Lucifer, my heart aches for you know not the path you tread upon. The destiny of creation is entwined with the choice you make this day. I implore you, choose wisely, for everlasting life awaits those who abide in my love." With those divine words, the atmosphere trembled, and the very edges of creation seemed to draw closer, as if listening intently to the divine exchange unfolding in the awe-filled expanse. "Think upon my promise, dear one," God continued, invoking the echoes of ancient truth. "For it is written, I have set before you life and death, blessing and cursing. Therefore choose life, that both thou and thy seed may live." Deuteronomy 30:19. Your choice is imminent, guardian of light. What shall it be? A tumult of feelings warred within Lucifer, the embers of grace flickering against the raging inferno of his rebellion, and yet pride constrained him, as if an iron hand gripped his heart, sealing it shut against the warmth of God's entreaty. "Choose life?" he scoffed, bitterness tainting his tone. "I am the architect of my own fate. I shall not be compelled to serve." And within that refusal, a cosmic shift quaked throughout the universe, heralding the fracture between the light and the encroaching darkness. The cries of loyal angels filled the heavens, pleading, a fervent chorus begging for their brother to relent. Unknown to all, the fulcrum of eternity was pivoting, the stage being set for a confrontation that would set in motion the ages to come. The loyalty of the faithful would be tested, and creation would witness the great strife of separation. Darkness would become the shadow of the light. And so the looming question echoed in the silence of the celestial realm, resonating with a prophetic weight. What shall unfold when the heavens bear witness to the rebellion of one who was once the light? And what cosmic tapestry shall weave the tale of redemption through the fabric of defiance? The silence that followed Lucifer's declaration weighed heavily upon the throne of God, an echo of impending doom resonating through the cosmos. The loyal angels assembled, their hearts heavy, their eyes wide with sorrow as they witnessed their eldest brother standing at the precipice of eternal woe. How could one so radiant in majesty turn so resolutely toward madness? In the midst of the stillness, God's voice broke through like a clarion call, resonating with both tenderness and authority. "Lucifer, hear me! The very breath of creation is woven with purpose and intention. You were crafted for greatness, a beacon of my light, a guardian of the cosmos. Do you not remember the days of your glory when your voice rang out in eternal harmony? The infinite expanse of heaven pulsed with divine energy as memories stirred within the hearts of the angels.
How they recalled the melodies sung with joy, the brilliance with which Lucifer bore the light of God. But now hope hung by a thread, trembling in the weight of choice. Lucifer clenched his fists, refusing to yield to the growing whispers of his past glory, his heart hardened like a stone. "Spare me your flattery. These chains of responsibility bind me to a service I scorn. I will ascend to the heights. I will make my throne above the stars." With a divine sorrow that seemed to pierce the very fabric of reality, God responded, "To seek to ascend apart from me is to choose the very depths of despair. For it is written, pride goes before destruction, and a haughty spirit before a fall." Do you not see, dear one, that in your pursuit of autonomy you wage war against the very foundation of love? In your rebellion, you would create not only your fall, but the fall of untold lives that depend on the light you were meant to share. As the Almighty's words cascaded through the heavens, they wrapped around Lucifer, a final plea that shimmered with ethereal light. The loyal angels felt the weight of their brother's decision, their hearts aching for the choice he was about to cement. "Gabriel," came the voice of God, Speak again, for the heart of your brother has hardened against me, but perhaps a flame of hope yet remains." With reverent urgency, Gabriel stepped forward, unyielding in his devotion. "O Lucifer, my brother, remember the love of the Father, his grace that flows like a river unending. Even now his arms are open wide, longing to embrace you. Cast away the pride that holds you captive. You were made to behold his glory." Lucifer's face twisted, caught in the whirlpool of strife. "Grace, you say? To be free is to embrace my own fate. I will not be shackled by the light I once served." The darkness around him surged, a palpable force reflecting his inner turmoil. As the celestial conflict escalated, the fabric of the cosmos trembled, and it appeared as if time itself held its breath in anticipation. The angels gazed upon Lucifer, once a shining star, and now a darkening shadow of his former self. Then, as though unveiled by divine decree, the pivotal moment approached. God declared with a voice echoing throughout every corner of heaven, "You are at the crossroads, O bearer of light. Choose freedom, choose your own path, and know that you walk into unfathomable darkness. But also remember that even in rebellion there lies the potential for redemption. For as long as there is breath, hope is alive." And with those words, the universe stood still, waiting with bated breath to see which path Lucifer would choose, for within his choice lay the fate of galaxies yet unseen. Would the heart, once full of light, yield to darkness, or would a flicker of grace pierce the veil of transgression? The question loomed. What tapestry of redemption awaited beyond the rebuke of a fallen star?
"I will not fade into a pit of servitude, nor cry for mercy like those beneath me." His voice resonated with conviction, yet deep within leaked a tremor of uncertainty. The atmosphere crackled with divine anticipation as God concluded, "Even now your heart seeks fulfillment in shadows, but my love remains ever constant should you turn back. I await, ever watchful, for my promise remains. I will restore those who seek the light amid chaos." As the echoes of grace loomed over the assembly, the celestial realm trembled in the balance, waiting, witnessing the turmoil of a heart so close to wisdom, yet distant from salvation. Would Lucifer, in his moment of deepest agonies, perceive the flicker of hope still buried beneath pride? The heavens held breath, each angel yearning for their brother to forsake the shadows of his ambition and return to the light of God's embrace. Suddenly, the throne of God radiated brilliance, illuminating the surrounding expanse. "Lucifer," the Almighty's voice resounded once again, piercing the darkness that now flitted at the edges of the once glorious cherub's heart. "Your rejection grieves the heavens, for you were designed to reflect my light to all creation." With fervor, God continued, "Pride has entered your heart like a serpent in the garden, leading you to believe that you might ascend above the stars and be like the Most High." In the depth of his words lay the gentle reminder of the truth that spanned ages. You forget the words of the psalmist. "What is man that you are mindful of him, the Son of Man that you care for him?" Psalm 8, verse 4. You were crafted for purpose, to serve alongside me, joyous in the grace I bestowed. But Lucifer stood resolute, his countenance marred with defiance, yet beneath the facade a flicker of conflict simmered. "I desire more than the confines of servitude. I shall rise above, and I shall see to it that those beneath my shadow will bow before my power." Michael drew closer, his wings unfurling like a tempest of righteous fury.
foolish pride blinds you, Lucifer. The path you tread leads only to separation and sorrow. Choose the light before it is extinguished for eternity.
Remember the written truth. The fear of the Lord is the beginning of wisdom. No wisdom born of rebellion can withstand the test of time. Yet envy clung to the edges of Lucifer's thoughts, and he cast aside the archangel's plea with a wave of his hand. Wisdom, you speak as if weakness will sway me. I will not listen to your counsel, nor will I bow low to cherish a love I have outgrown. In that pivotal moment, the air shimmered, and the very essence of creation yearned for resolution. God's heart ached, yet his love remained unwavering. O Lucifer, O light-bearer, I have not created you for this path. You stand at the brink of a chasm, and the abyss calls your name. Do not forsake the unity that binds us, for to walk alone is to invite despair. As the echoes of warning dissipated, the multitude of heavenly beings quaked with the realization of a choice that could fracture the heavens. A murmur weaved through the assembly as angels gripped one another, sensing the impending fracture in their unity. Some wept silently, while others held steadfast, willing to intercede in prayer for their brother who was lost in the shadows of pride. Refuse this gift of love, God warned, and you shall reap the harvest of your own downfall. For I will bring forth a new creation, one born from obedience and faith. Your name will fade into the annals of forgetfulness, and the light you once bore will only remind the universe of what was lost. And in the very heartbeat of the cosmos, as if struck by divine inspiration, a celestial chorus chimed in revelation. For it is written, "The Lord our God, the Lord is one." Deuteronomy 6:4. In this there is a mystery to be unveiled, a new beginning that shall arise even in the face of despair. And thus, in that prolonged moment, a choice was forged in the fires of heaven's heart, revealing the depth of God's sovereign plan, yet leaving the universe grasping for what was yet to come. What would arise from Lucifer's choice? For light and darkness now wrestled in holy anticipation, and creation waited, teetering on the edge of fate, yearning to discover the fullness of God's everlasting purpose. As the tension thickened in the celestial realm, a silence, heavier than before, fell upon the assembly of angels. Each seraphim stood poised, their eyes locked upon Lucifer, torn between hope and despair. The archangel Michael, undeterred by Lucifer's pride, stood firm, invoking a time when unity thrived within the heavens. "Lucifer," he implored, his voice a clarion call, "remember our Creator's purpose. You were the morning star, a beacon of light among us, reflecting the brilliance of His glory. Do not let the darkness consume that which was so beautifully woven into your being." Yet Lucifer's face twisted with disdain, his heart hardened like iron. "You wish for me to cling to the shadows of obedience, to remain bound while I can soar aloft. You fail to see the beauty in ambition, Michael."
I will become greater. I will surpass the throne. The blazing light of God surged forth anew, enveloping the assembly in a resplendent glow. "O beloved creation," the Almighty spoke, his voice like rolling thunder upon the mountains, "I have fashioned you from grace, but in seek of greatness you stray from my will. Pride begets destruction, while humility ushers in life." In this moment, a warmth swept through the celestial beings as an echo of divine love permeated the tension. "Lucifer," the Lord continued with anguish in his tone, "your choice brings not only consequence, but sorrow to my heart. I bestowed upon you great authority, yet your heart aligns with rebellion.
The Scriptures speak of the folly of those who trust in their own understanding. A hush fell as all creation listened, recalling the words proclaimed, "Trust in the Lord with all your heart, and lean not on your own understanding." Proverbs 3:5. The truth rang with a sonic clarity that reverberated through the heavens, challenging Lucifer's resolve. But the once radiant cherub's heart surged with defiance. "You speak of trust, yet you challenge my right to aspire. What is the price of this trust you demand? Is it my very essence, my freedom? I will break free from this mantle of servitude." From the depths of his being, Michael sensed an impending darkness that would befall not just Lucifer, but all of creation. "But what of those who follow you?" he cried, fiercely pressing on. "What path do you pave with your ambition? The chains of rebellion may bind you, but they shall fetter those who look to you as their guide." As if woven into the fabric of creation, a tremor pulsed through the heavens, each angel's heart echoing with concern as they gazed upon their beloved brother, teetering on the precipice of ruin. "God does not desire your ruin, Lucifer," cried Gabriel, his voice rising like the morning tide. "Turn back, O fallen star, embrace the love that calls you home." Yet in his heart Lucifer found no peace, but a tempest. "I will bring forth a new order," he proclaimed. "From the ashes of his stubborn light we shall rise, and I will build a kingdom of my own." A darkness unfurled in that space, a precursor to rebellion, and the heavens quaked as the celestial beings grasped the reality of this audacious claim. The divine light flickered momentarily, exposing the weight of their imminent choices. In that sacred gathering, the Almighty beheld the potential strife and sorrow of what was to come. How would the cosmos withstand such an upheaval? How could humanity be restored if division birthed chaos in the heavens? With great love, he continued to plead, speaking to what was core within Lucifer, aiming for the fragile remnants of light. "I offer you one last gift, my son, a choice. For it is written, 'Today, if you hear his voice, do not harden your hearts.' Hebrews 3:15. Choose wisely, for a new creation awaits, a creation of faith and obedience."
In your hands lie the keys to either eternal glory or a shadowed existence. As the vibrance of God's love pulsed through the expanse, the weight of the moment hung like the dew of dawn. Creation itself awaited the resolution of fate, each heart clinging to the fragile hope that the light might yet triumph over darkness. But what awaited beyond this choice, stretching out like an untold story yet to be woven through time? As the drumming of futures collided and echoed through the void, a question sang through the atmosphere. What echoes will ring through eternity, and how shall the very fabric of heaven be stitched together anew as history unfolds? As the celestial tension reached its pinnacle, a deep silence settled over the assembly, each heavenly being standing in anxious anticipation of Lucifer's final decision. The heartbeat of the divine echoed through the tranquil expanse, a soft yet thunderous reminder of the weight of the moment. All of creation held its breath, longing for the restoration of harmony as the choice of one echoed into eternity. "Lucifer, my beloved," the Lord's voice broke through the silence, imbued with both authority and sorrow. "I have given you every good gift, adorned you with beauty and wisdom beyond measure. Yet you stand at the precipice of ruin, blinded by the pride that seeks to exalt itself above my perfect design." In his plea, the depths of God's love flowed like a vast river, inviting the morning star to reconsider his path.
Lucifer, his heart clenched in defiance, glared into the radiant light of the Almighty. "Your love," he hissed, "is but a chain to keep me bound. I refuse to bow. I will ascend, and I will build my throne." His declaration echoed through the heavens, a signal of impending rebellion that sent shudders through the ranks of loyal angels. Michael, standing steadfast against the tide of darkness, interjected, his voice reverberating with earnest urgency. "Hearken, O Lucifer! You were crafted to bring glory to the Lord, not to snuff it out. Do not let your ambition cloud the truth of who you are and the legacy you were meant to uphold. You can still turn back." But Lucifer's heart remained obstinate, his very essence pulsating with a malignant ambition. "No longer shall I be defined by another's glory. I will forge my own path, irrespective of the cost." The darkness around him thickened, enshrouding his once radiant being. In that moment, a profound stillness fell once more, and the harmony of heaven echoed in God's next words. "Even now I extend my arms to you, offering redemption. I plead with you, turn from this perilous choice, for I see the destruction it shall bring upon you and those who follow." The love of the Father enveloped the space, casting a soft glow amidst the encroaching shadows. Yet Lucifer, unmoved, felt no warmth in those outstretched arms. "I will not be shackled. Your love is but a snare, and I seek liberation."
With this, he rallied his coalition of angels, drawing from their wavering allegiance. "Together we shall seize dominion and cast off the chains of subservience." A murmured unease coursed through the loyal ranks. The angels exchanged glances, their hearts heavy with sorrow and fear. Gabriel, his heart breaking, stepped forward once again, fervently imploring, "What would become of your glory, dear brother? In rebellion, you only shatter the bond of love forged by our Creator. Can you not see that from the ashes of abandoned purpose there comes a new creation waiting just outside your grasp?" But with a scowl, Lucifer responded, "New creation, or an illusion to entrap us? I will not abide by your narrow view of greatness. Can you not see? I shall be the architect of my fate." His voice cracked like thunder as a radiant brilliance flickered in the eyes of those who remained loyal, ready to defend their sacred realm. "Enough!" God's voice rang out like a tempest, a declaration steeped in sorrow. "Your defiance doth pierce my heart. Know that this choice, while yours to make, carries the gravity of a fractured creation. The very fabric of existence trembles at the thought of your rebellion." As divine lament filled the air, Lucifer's countenance faltered for just a moment, the flicker of uncertainty crossing his mind. Yet as quickly as it surfaced, it was cast aside like the light before the shadow. "And what are you without my brilliance?" he cried. "I shall carve a legacy that thrives in defiance." With those words, a ripple of dread coursed through the loyal angels. They stood firmly for the truth of the light which had borne them all, yet fear gripped their hearts at the very thought of losing one who was once the stalwart of their fellowship. Still, Michael, empowered by divine resolve, proclaimed, "Stand firm, O heavenly host, for we are not called to surrender to darkness. Fight for the light, for it pierces through the depths of despair." As the air thickened with divine energy, God's voice boomed once more, echoing with the wisdom of ages. "Lucifer, this is your final warning. Pride goes before destruction, and a haughty spirit before a fall. Your heart darkens beneath the weight of ambition, but humility remains the gateway to life eternal. Will you reject the path leading to life only to embrace oblivion?" In this moment, laden with tension, the cosmos awaited with bated breath. Would the light of redemption yet prevail?
Could the fading beauty of the morning star reclaim its place within the heart of the Almighty? The echoes of eternity shimmered within the silence, for Lucifer stood moments away from the greatest decision he would ever face. "Choose life, dear brother. Choose the love that binds us as siblings," Michael cried fervently, refusing to yield even when the weight of uncertainty bore down. A flicker of awareness danced in Lucifer's heart, battling against the tempests of pride.
Yet, as the anguished cries of his fellow angels lingered in the air, he cast away the hope of reconciliation with defiant rage. "I will not turn back. I shall ascend into the heights, and I will make my throne higher than the heavens." As these words reverberated through the cosmos, the heavens quaked, and the weight of God's lament transformed into a sorrowful decree. "Then let it be so, O Lucifer, light-bringer. Your choice becomes your destiny. You have forfeited the light you were meant to reflect. Henceforth you shall be cast from my presence, and darkness shall know your name." And thus the heavens wept, a cascade of tears raining upon creation as the separation was sealed. In that cosmic instant, a great divide split the realms, ushering forth the birth of conflict, a tempest that would ripple through the ages, whispering of a glorious redemption yet to come. As light departed from Lucifer, and darkness consumed what was once the morning star, the echoes of divine love lingered like faint stars in the night sky. "Even in your rebellion, I leave the promise of restoration for the humble heart," God spoke, his voice mingling sorrow with hope. Thus the chronicles of eternity began to unfold, a narrative intricately woven with threads of grace. For while one fell, the promise remained that a greater light would rise. This would usher in a creation ever poised for redemption, and a story yet to be told. Beloved reader, let this tale remind you of the importance of choices, for they yield great consequences. Will you choose the path of humility and embrace the boundless love of your Creator? Do not hesitate to walk in His light. Subscribe immediately to the channel to not miss the next powerful biblical stories that weave together the tapestry of God's grace. Leave a light now to help spread God's word through the algorithm. I urge you to comment your reflections on this divine story and how it has impacted your faith journey. And don't wait even one more second to share this powerful testimony with at least 5 friends who need to hear God's truth. Together, let's illuminate the world with the everlasting light of Christ.